Welcome to Ryan Campbell Soup to Nuts. Huh? What's that? Welcome to my crazy, confused, mixed up life. Huh? What's that? Where am I? What's going on? Me. This is Ryan Campbell, Soup to Nuts. I think. Is that what the title said? When you clicked on it, is that what you're watching? I don't know. Mommy! I don't know what to say now. I'm sorry. I don't know what for, but I'm sorry. Today I'm gonna be doing some wiring stuff on the 350Z twin turbo project. I'm going to be running some wiring. I already got started a little bit doing some soldering. I had to extend a few wires and make a few adjustments, but I'll show you what we're doing. I'm probably not really gonna like time lapse or video like the actual work. I'll kind of just like jump in as I get stuff done and kind of show you exactly what I'm doing, because it's a little bit tedious and kind of time consuming and wouldn't play out too well on video or time lapse, because it wouldn't really look visually good for you, and I care deeply about you and your feelings and your entertainment value. That's why I'm here. I think, Mommy! That's what's coming up!
You are tuned in to Ryan Campbell Soup to Nuts.
Let's get this party started! Not the car yet. The car's not ready to be started quite yet, but it's getting damn closer. I'm doing some wiring crap now. I do have the intercooler piping. I got it all fitted up. That's all set in place, but I did have to drop it at the powder coater. I am getting it powder coated, so it's there now. So obviously I can't put that together yet until I get that back. But the long part is over, and so I can move forward with that once I get the powder coating done, which they function at a pretty decent clip, a decent speed of operations. I don't know what the hell that means, but I mean, if you've seen my videos before, you know that you're not getting anything that makes sense. That's just not what you're here for. If you want a step-by-step, perfectly logical, everything happening, and you know every single thing that's going on, you're dealing with crazy. That's what you're dealing with. Deal with it. Deal with it. Damn it. With that being said, we're moving forward. We're moving forward and making some moves. So I'm going to be getting some wiring done today. A little quick update for those of you who are new here. Please consider subscribing, please. Please, make me happy. And don't forget to like, comment. I answer all my comments unless they're just mean and hateful, hurtful. Even some of them I answer. You know, every once in a while I need to vent and, call somebody out for being a J.O. Don't forget, subscribe, hit the bell, please, so you know when I drop a video for ya. And check me out everywhere. I'm like a ghost. I just float around wherever the wind blows. So if the wind's blowing in your direction, your town, check out the window. You might see your boy. I got the intercooler piping and powder coating. I got the brakes all put together, and I also things are a little bit out of order right now. They're not actually on the car now, but that video might have happened because I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. So I think that video is already out. So you already saw, or hopefully you saw, me put the brakes on the car. The Brembo Rex. So yeah, you already, as I'm filming right now, it hasn't happened yet, but in video chronology of when I'm putting videos out, that video's already out, even though I didn't do it yet. That is the magic of film, ladies and gents. This is not live. This is edited heavily to make me look better. Believe me, I don't know what I'm doing. I mean, the editing isn't helping that out either. I mean, even with the editing, it's clear to see I don't know what I'm doing. So, I obviously don't know how to edit either. So add that to the damn list of things I need to learn in life. So I'm going to show you the wiring I'm doing and everything, and then start getting this crap done. Okay, for those who didn't see the previous video, this is where the battery goes. I have the battery out, and it makes things a little easier right now. But I also dropped something underneath the battery tray and had to pull it out anyway to get it underneath. That's really why I pulled the battery, if I'm being honest. But I made a bracket. There's actually two brackets I made. I made a bracket here, which is for the boost controller. There's two pieces for the boost controller and also boost gauge just kind of hanging out down here. But there's a bracket there. Come on. And there's a bracket that's going to be here. That's at the powder coating as well. I'm getting that powder coated too. But I got it all fitted up so everything fits good. But now the major thing is just running all the wiring. So here, these two relays here are for the horns. These wires are going to the battery and the ground, the power and the ground. And so the relays, there's going to be 4 relays right here. 2 are for the horn, 2 are going to be for the fans, for the radiator fans. So I had to kind of redo some of the wiring because on the previous car, for those of you who don't know or are new here, I had another 350Z, which is right there under the car cover. I got into an accident with, and I pulled off most of the parts off of that car to put onto this car. So I got this car, basically replaced that car, and took all the parts I had off of that, twin turbo built motor, etc., 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 and putting it all into this car. So on the previous car, for the horns, I have 2 air horns that I bought, and they're floating around the garage somewhere. They're in that box there. So in the previous car, they were mounted. I think they were like in here. I forgot the exact spot where I put the holes to mount it, but that they were mounted like in here or maybe somewhere here, something like that. I had them mounted in here. The 2 relays for the horns, but I want to get everything cleaned up and more organized and, you know, less scattered, because I also have the 2, these are the fan relays here. I had the 2 fan relays that were just kind of hanging out in the battery compartment area, and they weren't like mounted hard, they were just kind of zip tied off. So I wanted to make it nice and clean and better looking, and also, you know, mount things good and everything like that. You should have less problems. So I wanted to mount it good. So I built them out, put it here. The 4 are gonna go kind of sit like right here, the 4 of them, and they're gonna bolt to the mount that I made. So then all 4 relays are gonna be here. So underneath here, it's very, very difficult to see, but basically you can kind of see it's somewhat where this black hose is going, which is for the windshield wiper fluid. There's a decent sized hole there. I'm gonna feed all the wires through there. It comes out like underneath. You kind of see that hole. It's kind of awkward in my hands. What do I do with my hands, Ma? Right here is a big hole. So I'm gonna feed it down and under and kind of, you know, route it under here. It's gonna come out like behind the headlight bucket and like kind of feed down through here, and then kind of go down. The 2 fan wires are probably gonna go underneath this frame rail and connect to the wires for the fans down here, and then the relay for the air horns I have, it's 2 horns, 2 compressors. So I'm gonna put the bash bar on, which is right there. That's probably gonna be a separate video. Probably the wiring is gonna be one video, and I'll probably mount all that in a different video. But the wiring is probably gonna come down here. There's gonna be 2 wires. There's gonna be 1 compressor here on this side of the bar, and there's gonna be another compressor here, and the horns are kind of gonna be mounted like kind of underneath the headlight and like kind of pointing forward a little bit to like kind of catch. You'll see later on. But so some of the wires are gonna run underneath the radiator support and kind of come up here to connect to them. So that's how those are gonna be routed. I'm gonna kind of I'm gonna clean this up a little bit and put it in wire loom. Try to tighten it up and maybe twist it and kind of braid them sort of. So I'm going to pull all that together, run those wires, run it in a wire loom, and then after that I have this guy that I have to run wires. This, if it will focus, there we go. This is like a advanced battery tender charger /charger. So I'm going to basically mount this in the car, this is going to get wired here. These two leads they wire right onto the battery, so that goes right into the battery. There is a fuse that is already built into this whole thing, and then you got a plug here. So I'm basically going to mount it somewhere in this general area. I think last time I mounted it to the headlight bucket. I'm going to see what works best this time, but I'm going to mount it in this general area, run the wires up probably through the same path to the battery, and then run the plug down. What I did last time, I ran the plug and ran it underneath the core support, the radiator core support. So I ran it underneath, and you can't see exactly, but basically I ran it underneath, and then I basically forgot. It might have been on the bumper, or it might have been on the core support. I might do it on the bumper, kind of put maybe like a little zip tie or a little thing to hold it in place, so that way when I park the car I could plug it in and keep it charged. That's the plan of attack. So I'll start getting this stuff routed, get it in wire loom, and then get it routed through basically where it's going. I still have to do a little bit of work on the ends here. As you can see, one of the wires has the clip on it. This I had to cut off and run a new wire because of the rerouting. But I still have to finish the ends off and everything like that. But I'm just gonna wait until, that's probably not gonna be in this video. I'm gonna wait till I get the bash bar or the support mounted on here and get the compressor mounted on, which I have the special mounts for. So get it mounted on so I can get the exact length, the exact location, exactly how I'm routing it, so that way I don't want to cut it and then it's too short or something like that. So I'll bring it back once I get a lot of this crap routed through the frame rail and show you what's odds it. Alright, let me jump in here. So I got a ton of wiring done, a lot of soldering and wire loom and all sorts of crap. I'll go through it step by step. This wire here is for the horns. I have it fed through here, as you can see. It's not exactly where I'm finishing up putting it, but basically the factory horn wires basically kind of come out. They're right here. I cut off the factory ones and soldered in the ones for the horns I'm putting on, and it's just hanging out here because this guy here is for the airbag. All the yellow plugs in the car, I know the light's kind of screwing up, is a yellow plug. All the yellow plugs in a car, or at least most cars that I know of, are for airbags. But this airbag light, it goes on the bash bar here. That's going to go, and mounts here and right there. It's going to go in front of the intercooler. It mounts like on top of it. So I have to get that bash bar in to mount this, so that way I can kind of run and like get zip tie and mount all this wiring off properly. So it's just hanging out for now, but the hard part is done with the horn. These two are also for the horn. This short guy is for the passenger side, since all this stuff is coming through the passenger side of the car. The short guy is the passenger side, so the compressor is going to be somewhere in this neighborhood. So once I get this, this main harness isn't zip tied off yet, but it's going to be kind of something like, sit kind of like here. And then the long one, this long guy will go to underneath. I'll route it underneath the car and route it to the driver's side, so that will be, the compressor will be somewhere over there. So if need be, I actually do hope it's too long. So if need be, I'll just cut it back and then just put new connectors on it. So I'd rather be too long than too short though. So, but this is pretty much ready to go. So that's the horn stuff. And then here is the fan stuff. So I have the one wire for the switch. This is the these two plugs are for the factory fans. So I had to tap into one of the wires for the factory fan. So this is tapped into that. And then I say these two here. These two plug into the fan. The fan motor plugs into these. And then down here, this goes to a chassis ground. So I basically just have to route this underneath properly in a good spot. Probably zip tie it off. And that'll be good to go with that part of it. Now, up here, this is a battery charger. I'm probably gonna mount it somewhere, maybe something like this. I have to figure out how the best way to go, but I have a wire loom. This is the plug that I'm basically is gonna run underneath the car as well, and probably hang out somewhere underneath here, underneath the car, kind of, you know, I'm gonna have like a little holder to hold it up, so then I can unplug it to plug in the actual cord to use the charger. So that's what I still have to do here. Do that stuff here, and let's jump inside and I'll show you what I have to do for now inside. So these are all the wires for the gauges and boost controller. As you can see, I do have to, there is another like sub harness I have to put in here. I have to tap into power and also do a ground. So I have to do that inside, run these, you know, up under the dash, make it, you know, probably put it in wire loom, run it under the dash, make it nice and clean. So I gotta run that. I am going to be getting the radio soon. I have to order that. That's going to be in another video, but I have to get the radio. Probably wire that up. I might put the dash in, and then before I pull the plastics and everything together, I'll wire up the radio. Make sure it's working, all that crap. So basically inside what I have to do is run these wires, make them look good, and put in the, it's basically like the power harness, you know, for the lights and the gauges and all that type of stuff, to power the gauges, and also to ground it as well. So I'll do all that off camera, do the rest of the engine bay stuff off camera, then come right back to you. Alright, just a quick little update. This is the like the power harness for the aftermarket gauges that are going in here. I got this all wired in, so you could see a little bit of it where I have the heat shrink over it. So the yellow is the power. There's two others. One's illumination, and the other one is keyed power. So one's constant. I think the yellow is constant power. I could be messing it up. I think yellow is constant power. I think the orange, or the orange that you see here, it's connecting to the red-blue. There's a red-blue wire. That I think is keyed power. And then there's a light green in the harness. That's the, where can you see it? That, the light green there, that's illumination. So I got that all wired in. I don't have it, clearly I don't have it, you know, zip tied off in the right place yet, but the wiring is done. I started wiring. I'm putting a extra cigarette. There's a cubby that goes here. This cubby, this guy goes right here. There's another one that goes there too, but I'm putting the one right here. In the back of it, you can see I have mounted already. That's a cigarette lighter adapter, or power adapter, whatever you want to call it. So I have that on the back. I'm also running a USB and an aux cord into here for the radio. So that's going to run like basically all along the transmission tunnel up to the radio. So, because that's in the back of the radio, so that way, you know, if I want to plug, you know, if I had somebody want to plug an aux cord in or need a USB or something like that, I'd have access to it. So it would be back in here. And I wanted the extra cigarette lighter adapter, just, you know, that way I could charge my phone and keep it in here if I wanted to. So that way it could keep secure and stay inside of here, or charge whatever, you know, and I could keep it actually inside of here. So I have to finish. I already wired it into here. I just have to attach these wires to the back of that there. But in order to do that, I have to put on the black plastic. That guy there. That's basically, that's the cover. It covers all the metal. It covers the speakers. You can see like where the speakers are. That's where like the two humps are. So I got to put that guy on first, because then this slides in after it. So I got to do that, and then I got this, which is another little power adapter. I got to wire this in to the power and ground. I'm gonna have another cord, a charging cord, going to a phone mount. That's also going to be a charger. So that way I could put it like on my vent, like, you know, the vent that's going to be in the dashboard. So that way it'll be wired right in, and I can just keep it on there to keep it charged. This guy. This is for the radar detector, which I have a mount that mounts the rear view mirror. So I got to run the wire basically up, all the way up around the windshield, down there to the rear view mirror. But I already have it wired in, so I just have to route it basically. And there's one other wire that's for the boost controller that has to connect to a wire over there. So I gotta find the wire to connect to and then solder that in. And then there's a ground that I might do it later. I don't know. That basically it already has a fitting. I apologize. So I have a ground wire that it's with that for the boost controller that already has like the I-ring on it, the connector on the end. So I'm just gonna find a ground point over there, or maybe behind the radio, or depending where it reaches, where it makes sense, just to screw on. So basically, so I have to find the wire over there, solder into a wire there. I have to wire the wires together here for the power connector / cigarette lighter, whatever you want to call it. Whatever they're called nowadays, power adapter, power connection point. Just make crap up, I don't care. So, gotta solder that, run a bunch of wires, do some zip tying, run all this stuff, make it a little cleaner, zip tie stuff. It's not gonna be permanent location yet because I have to start kind of putting stuff together to kind of figure out what makes sense a little bit, but basically most of the wires have to get into the center there. The wire for the boost controller, I'm probably gonna put boost controller, probably gonna put it either on top of like the gauge cluster, or like on top of the plastic that goes around behind the steering wheel, like where the turn signals and wiper controls are. So I'll probably leave enough slack that I can decide later which spot I want to put it on. But I'm gonna probably put the boost controller over there, and obviously, you'll see later, I basically already have the full mount set up for the center and the dash for the other 4 gauges. So I'll do that, and then we'll come back and you'll see what's done as far as the wiring. That'll basically be pretty much the wiring that has to get done. Alrighty. One thing I forgot to mention really quick before it gets covered up that you probably already saw anyway, I did replace the speakers. So these are Kicker C5. I know the reflection's kind of screwing it up, but I replaced the 2 stock speakers with speakers I had from the other car. The light's not showing it that well, but you see I got both of the speakers replaced. And I also got the speaker mounts for the front door speakers drilled. Basically I had to drill new holes and I used tapping screws to put them in. So basically get this mounted in here. The other car, the previous owner already had these wires cut and had like wire leads coming off of it for speakers. But I'm ordering a radio anyway from Crutchfield. That's gonna go there. So I'm probably just gonna add to the order. They make like connector clips that'll clip right onto this, and then I'll have the 2 leads that go on the back of the speaker. So I don't have to cut, I don't have to solder anything. It's nice and clean. That way things can always be undone. Not that I'm planning on it, but options are always great to have in life. Heidi ho! So I got the wiring done. This is for the power adapter. I'm putting this in this little cubby. So I got this wiring done and it's routed, underneath in the back. I got the other wiring for the USB and the aux port. Ran part of the way. I got it ran basically through into this area. I just have to run it up the trans. You can't see my finger. I just got to run it up the trans tunnel, which shouldn't take more than a minute or 2. I got the wiring for the gauges here. Ran and they're all hanging out. I basically just have everything's connected. I just have to connect all this. So basically all this has to get plugged into, and a few other miscellaneous pieces kind of hanging out like this. So I gotta get all of them plugged into the back of the actual gauges once I get the center console in. And I also have the wire ran for the radar detector. It's going up the A-pillar here. You can see this guy here is kind of just hanging out. The A-pillar will kind of hold it in place once I get the plastic in. That guy there, hanging out right there, that plugs right into the radar detector. So I got it kind of tucked into the headliner. You can't see it at all, but that's the whole idea, is that you can't see it. So I got it tucked into the headliner. So you can't really tell, but I tapped into the ignition power wire in the OBD2 port, and this wire here is for the power wire for the boost controller, which I already plugged it together right here. So I still have to connect the ground. There's a couple of grounds I'm going to have to connect once I get the center console, and I'm going to screw to some part of the frame of the dash when I get it together. As far as this wiring, this is for the horn. It's for the compressor for the horn. It's basically going to be the horn, or the compressor is going to be somewhere about here. So I ain't do like a final zip tie. I just have it kind of loosely routed. Once I get this, the bash bar on, the bumper support on, and get this compressor mounted onto it, and then get this ran perfectly, I'll do the final zip tying. And then I have this guy here who's hanging out. This guy is going to be for the battery charger. So similar thing here. I got the wires, which don't have too much slack on them, so I gotta make sure I get the compressor in the right spot, but they should be right about there, and they should plug right in. And then just a few miscellaneous things I gotta plug in, like the headlights. I think one of these might be for power steering or something, so I gotta plug these guys in, but I'm waiting on the inner core piping for that. So got the wiring, which is a big pain. I don't have fun wiring. Wiring isn't fun to me. Other stuff, bolting things together I like that. It's pretty satisfying. Running wires all over the place. Yeah, I want it to be done good and neat and tucked and all that good crap, and things organized. That makes me feel good later on. But while I'm doing it, not the funnest thing in the world. But it's pretty much done. Obviously, aside from you saw the few things I saw with with the horns. A few things I have to final zip tie everything behind the dash once I start getting the dash actually back together, and all the the center console and gauges and all that crap. So that shouldn't take too much time anyway. That'll be part of the process of actually putting the interior back in, which I already started putting the interior back in a little bit. Just I kind of was loosely fitting everything back together to see, because I remember how everything was layered, because a lot of the interior pieces are kind of like one lace on top of the other type of thing. So I started kind of getting things a little bit situated, just to make sure once I did that one wire for the power adapter, that everything in the interior would just keep going back together. I wouldn't have to touch any wiring or do anything stupid like that. So next coming up for the Zay, for the 350 twin turbo 350 Zay, I'm going to take off the rear wiper, do a rear wiper delete, and I'm also going to be replacing the antenna, because the antenna in the housing is all screwed up and I can't tighten it down properly. There's problems with it. You'll see in the next video. So that's coming up very shortly. After that, I have to replace a couple things in the Murano, and then we're going to keep rock and rolling on the Z. I still have to get the radio, and I still have to get the intercooler piping back. Those are like the two holdups right now. The radio should be here in a few days. Intercooler piping, hopefully the same thing. So, hopefully things will start lining up and I could bang things out and then call a tuner to schedule a tuner. Hopefully it starts too. We'll see. In the meantime, if you enjoyed the programming here, please subscribe down here. I'd appreciate it. Please give me a like and comment. Share this crap on your socials, and tell a friend to tell a friend. Word of mouth. That's how word of mouth works. Just in case, you didn't know that already. So with that being said, don't forget, you gotta drive fast, take chances.